The first step is to create your words, then copy these words. Next, go to Namecheap, click on Beast Mode, paste the words, and select your domain extensions. You can select any type of extensions. I will choose .uk and generate the results. After a few minutes, all the results should be available. As you can see, these domain names are available for registrations. I will select one, copy it, and go to GoDaddy to paste it and see the appraisal result. The appraisal value is $2,027 according to GoDaddy estimates. You can register this domain name from Namecheap, GoDaddy, or 123rec. You can also register either .uk, also .co.uk, for just 1 penny for 1 year. Once you register it, list it on Afternic, NamesPro, Atom, and Sedo. These are the main platforms and marketplaces for domain flipping. In this video, I will also discuss how to flip domain names successfully for a profit. Here are some domain names that have been sold for significant amounts in history. As you can see, voice.com for $30 million, 360.com for $17 million, and NFTs for $15 million in 2022. Other domain names have sold for over $1 million. These domain names were purchased a long time ago, in the late 1990s, and have been held for around 30 years. Due to advancing internet and technology, these domain names have increased in value over the years. For instance, they may have spent around $300 or $400 to host these domain names, but they have sold for millions of dollars. Actually, there are two ways to flip domain names for a profit. First, purchase your domain name and hold it for a long time, like 10 to 20 years. Ensure that your domain name is valuable, short, and brandable. The second option is to purchase short domain names in bulk and list them on the marketplaces mentioned earlier. The probability of selling those domain names is about 1 to 2%. This means that if you list 100 domain names, the chances of selling 1 to 5 of them are probable. If you can sell 1 to 5 domain names from 100 domain names, you are considered to be a successful flipper. Over the past 6 to 7 months, I have sold 4 domain names, 3 on Dan.com and 1 on Sedo. My last domain name sold on Sedo for about €100, which is my net profit. The total net profit from the other 3 domain names sold on Dan is $4,550. If you go to finance and revenue, you can see the details of the sales. I purchased around 400 to 500 domain names and listed on marketplaces like Dan.com. Although Dan is now closed, you can use Afternic instead. I sold 1 domain name in April, another in May, June, and also the last one in October. In October, I sold 1 domain name on Sedo.com. To make your domain flipping business successful, first visit a fake name generator website. As you can see, you can use this website. First, specify how many words you want to generate and select the word linked. For example, you can generate 4-letter names. Copy the generated names and go to Namecheap. Click on Beast Mode, paste the names and search for extension. I will choose .co and also .uk. Hide the premium and unavailable domains. Then click on the Generate button. After a moment, you will see the available domain names. Evaluate each one to determine which one is suitable and brandable. For example, I found the name Zada, Xada, and check its estimated value on GoDaddy, which is $1,694. You can purchase this domain on Namecheap or other name registrar for just 1 penny for the first year. The cost for the subsequent years may be around $20 to $30. Another website allows you to filter and generate names based on word length and language type. As you can see, this website, I'll share this link in the description. After generating names, check their availability and estimated values on GoDaddy. Once you have an idea of the pricing, register your domain and list it on multiple platforms like Atom, Sedo, Names Pro, Afternic, and so on and so forth. It's crucial not to limit yourself on a few domain names. To make your domain flipping business successful, buy in bulk and list them in bulk to increase your chances of selling. Aim for a conversion rate of 1% to 5%. If you can sell one domain from 100, you are doing well. If you can sell 2, 3, or 4 domain names, you are quite successful. For example, I calculated the conversion rate of the seller on Dan.com, which is 8.6%. They have sold 55 domain names and have an inventory of 638 domains for sale. They focus on UK domain names, and most of their domain names are short and brandable. Another seller has a conversion rate of 5.7% and has sold 98 out of 1,705 domain names. They also focus on UK domain names. A different seller has sold 1,383 domain names and has over 29,000 domain names in inventory with various extensions. This is another seller has sold like more than 2,700 domain names and has over 177,000 domain names in inventory. They have a mix of extensions, including .io. If you estimate their revenue, as we can approximate, they have made an estimated revenue of $27 million. Another seller focused on South African domain names and has sold 50 domain names with a conversion rate of 7%, resulting in an estimated revenue of $50,000. These examples illustrate the potential for success in domain flipping. Now, here are some summaries of this video. First, let's talk about the evaluating domain name. The key factors to determine the value of a domain name are the name should be short and pronounceable with vowels in between. If it is very short, such as 2 or 3 letters, it may not be pronounceable. So it should not be like that. It can, like, I'm talking about 4 letters, 5 letters domain name. They should be brandable, short, and pronounceable. If you're unsure about its value, you can use tools like GoDaddy appraisals. And these tools can provide you with an idea of domain's worth. Now, let's talk about common mistakes in domain flipping. When discussing the mistakes beginners make when starting domain flipping, one common mistake is purchasing only a few domain names, such as 1 to 5. They often list these domain names on platforms and wait for results. This approach is not very successful because the domain have just been purchased recently and their value and likelihood of being sold are very low. To increase your chances of success, you should purchase a larger quantity of domain names, ideally between 100 to 1,000 domain names. By acquiring domain names in bulk, you enhance the potential for them to be sold. Therefore, avoid buying just a few domain names. Instead, focus on purchasing and listing them in larger quantities. And now let's talk about the importance of branding and domain name strategy. The branding of a domain name is a good strategy. There are websites like Atom that allow you to use customized logo for each of your domain names. Generating these logos can provide potential buyers with an idea of how a domain name should be used and what kind of business it could present. Branding is a valuable approach. Although I have limited experience in this area, I did not use any logos initially, but recently I created around 200 to 300 logos for my domain names in Atom. I hope they will be effective. Now let's talk about timing strategies for selling domain names. This is very important. So here is the catch. The timing for selling domain names for maximum profit is crucial. Most of my domain names have been sold in the early months of the year, particularly in March and also April, May. It's important to be aware of this trend because many entrepreneurs and startups typically begin their ventures at the start of the year. They set new resolutions and goals for their business and personal growth, which often includes the need for a new domain name. If you capitalize on this opportunity, you will increase your chance of success. It is advisable to be prepared at the beginning of the year, specifically in January, and also February and March, and even December. If you list your domain names during these months and are ready, the probability of your domain names being sold is very high. Now, let's talk about the successful domain name sales based on my experience. I have sold 3 domain names on Dan.com. I previously made a video about geeky.co.uk and also which I sold for close to $2,000, specifically $1,937, and the second one was feig.co.uk, which I sold for $1,400. The third domain name was sold baikal.co.uk, which was like over $1,000. And the 4 domain names was sold for $130 in the cheapest one on the sedo.com. And these are the domain names that I have successfully sold. As you can see, they are pronounceable, brandable, sharp, and beautiful domain names. Now let's come to evaluating the value of the domain names. As I mentioned before, to evaluate potential value of a domain name for purchasing, I believe every type of domain name can be sold. However, you have to try multiple domain names, potentially hundreds of them. In the past, I thought that only .com domain names and short domain names could be sold. And after this experience, I am sure that any type of domain name, whether it has generic extensions or geographical extensions, can be sold. It doesn't matter. Every type of domain name, every type of extension can be sold. However, do not forget that domain names should be short and brandable. This is the main point. If you are a beginner and do not have a large budget, focus on those domain names that are affordable. You can find short names for those inexpensive extensions and purchase them in bulk. That's the idea. Now let's talk about the impact of trends and customer behavior. As you can see, in the past, .ai was not very expensive. But in 2023, these domain names, AI.com was sold over $11,000, $11 million. So it indicates that certain trends and market behaviors impact your domain name. So this domain name, I'm sure, before this, the emergence of ChatGPT was very cheap, like maybe $200,000. But by coming ChatGPT and other AI industries, These domain was sold $11 million. So I read another report from Sedo.com in 2023. I hope to share the link in the description. The AI extension was the main trend in 2023, which contributed to the high sell-off price of AI.com. Therefore, it's essential to keep an eye on trends in consumer behavior, as these factors can influence the price of a domain name. So now let's come to the last part of this video about the maximizing exposure with Afternic. The best and most significant platform is Afternic because it is a network and a brand of Gurari which has over 40 million monthly users. By using Afternic, you can showcase your domain name to a vast audience of 40 millions of people, resulting in a very high traffic. First, choose Afternic, then consider other platforms like Sedo, Atom, and so on and so forth. However, never overlook Afternic. It is a major player. Your domain name will be exposed to over 40 millions of people, which is extremely important.
To make a summary for this video, buy a lot of domain names in bulk, ship, and list them in multiple platforms like Afternic, Sedo, Atom, Names Pro, and just wait for your domain names to be sold. That's it, and repeat them, and adjust the technique, so the strategy. I hope that you can make a pretty good profit from your business.